Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Death of Superman, issue 1. Written by Jeff Loveness and art by Brad Walker. So, you weren't here for the last one. Did you read the...
I did, because I went to get it and I saw the page count. I was like, "Ugh, do I need to bother with these?" Because that's like 3 books worth almost of actual reading,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got 20 books to read if I include these. But then you said, oh, they're actually building to some connected story. You might want to check it out. They're not as disconnected as they might seem. So I thought, fine, I'll read
To a
it.
point,
And
yeah. Like, I'm not sure how, like, but it does feel like the stuff with Tempest is kind of like maybe...
okay, by that I mean there is an overarching story. It's
Yeah.
not just random one shots of, hey, Dark Multiverse.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
There is
don't get me wrong,
something.
I feel like whatever this leads to, you'll probably be able to read without having read any of these, but it does feel like it's kind of...
Teasing something.
It is teasing something, yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought, all right, I'll try it, and then it was pretty damn good. I've really enjoyed it. So I was like, all right, I suppose I'll read the next one.
I enjoyed all the arms being ripped off in the last one.
I bet you did.
It was great. So this one obviously is Death of Superman, and the difference here is that when Superman dies, Lois does not take it well. She gets angry and kind of blames everyone, and the Eradicator at least thinks he's too late to have saved Superman. He's not put him in the Matrix soon enough, and because of that, he's like, oh, all this Kryptonian power I have in me, I can't handle it anymore. So Lois is like, well, give it to me then. And Lois gets Superman powers and goes around being the sort of dark vigilante, just killing villains.
She goes too far, and she gets annoyed at Clark for her when she realizes how much more he could have been doing, but chose not to, for the to not be a dictator, terrible person.
Yeah, it's very much the darkest, like, well, it's not the darkest. I mean,
it's kind of Death of Superman meets Red Sun.
Kind of.
In some ways.
And there's a bit of Tempest Fujinot at the start, sort of like talking about the Dark Multiverse and talking about how things have changed. I will say this, I appreciate how all the other characters had their time-appropriate looks in this book. You had the big ginger Lex Luthor with the beard. You had
Batman had Hal.
Yeah, Batman had the yellow oval on his chest. Like, all the stuff just felt like it was of the time. And I think the art actually, Walker's art is actually very suited to try to recreate at least a 90s feel in this book.
Like we've seen Walker do modern stuff as well, and he's very good at it. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Walker, but he really emulates this style kind of perfectly.
Yeah, so Lois grows resentful. She hates the statue. She hates that his parents couldn't be at the funeral. She thinks all the heroes are all like kind of hypocrites. They're all wanting the attention. They're all at the funeral, but they couldn't help save him, and so on and so on. And she gets this power from the Eradicator, and as you say, she becomes very spiteful. She becomes very vicious. She, and this is where
kind of greater good as she sees it, right?
Yeah. And this is the thing, though. It's like leading her down this dark path. When Batman tries to confront her, she kills Batman. So she does completely cross the line in ways that But I do want to say, though, one of my favorite things about that first one shot was the arm ripping off and the excessive violence. So she kills Lex Luthor in a glorious manner. She grabs Lex Luthor and flies into space, and we basically see Lex's body burn up from the atmosphere. And we see like his skin kind of burn off to tell he's just a skeleton. That is a glorious page.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Of course, if this was Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, he'd be fine and he'd be just screaming and saying, "What are you doing?" But with something resembling more realistic physics, this is at least. I mean, I don't know. I've always thought of people burning up and
a re-entry
thing. I don't know if it would happen on the way out. Maybe if you're going fast enough. I don't know.
I think that's kind of the implication, is she's going that fast, because it's kind of around her as well.
Yeah. So that is neat. Because she kills the Joker as well. She just like burns the Joker alive with her heat vision. Again, super brutal. I'm liking. Obviously, these are all dark versions of stories, so it makes sense. They're all violent. But I'm loving this trend 2 issues into this, that like we always get to see some really brutal, like, creative deaths or something over the top. So I'm kind of digging that.
Yeah. I love the other one of my only problems with the art actually is Batman's eyes in a couple of panels. So Walker does the whole like animated series whiteout eyes sort of thing. and that's fine at a distance. It's up close when you have the close-ups on his face, where it becomes clear that it's actually like a screen visor, and it's got these reflections, and the reflections kind of just look odd on it, because of the effect elsewhere is the whiteout. So when you see the reflections, I think there's one. It's just before Batman says, "I don't stop." Uh, that panel there, the eyes just look wrong, and it kind of pulls me out of it because of that, which is a shame. I'd have preferred it was just white it out entirely.
I actually am going to disagree with you on this. I don't mind that.
Fair enough.
For me, like, because you get the white out at a distance and it has that animated series thing, which I really like. It makes you feel kind of old school. But I actually don't hate the idea that he's kind of like giving it context in like a sort of modern art sort of way of like saying, hey, this is what it actually is when his eyes are white like that. It's his like sort of lenses that he's got in his cowl. So
that's it. I like it in theory of giving it that explanation. I just don't like how it looks in the close up, unfortunately.
I'm fine with it because it looked, I don't know, more detailed, I guess.
I mean, it's a pretty minor quibble overall. I'm not really bothered by that.
And then she ends up killing Superboy. Connor Kent can't catch a break. And Steel and then the Eradicator was already been dealt with. Cyborg Superman shows up and she's like, "You're not Superman." And here's the thing. So it turns out the real Superman that was actually going to come back. He was put in the Matrix suit. And it took longer than expected, but long-haired Superman, the black suit, shows up. And the beautiful thing about this is he gets horrified when he sees that people are scared of Lois. And he understands, he starts to understand, what this is. Yeah. And in the kerfuffle, Cyborg Superman like blasts him with this kryptonite cannon thing.
Cannon.
Yeah.
Arm cannon, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's like gloriously 90s.
Superman gets killed again, so we get Lois holding his dead body again.
Yeah, and it's tragic, because throughout all of this, Lois she becomes the villain. Don't get me wrong, but you feel sorry for her. You kind of understand where this fall has come from.
And you get and she blames herself and says, basically, because of what I've done, I've killed him again.
Yeah,
and we go back to Fujinot. He's like, yep, this is all.
He says, now Lois is the Eradicator, the dark avenging angel of the multiverse.
Yeah, so
I hope we see more of her. I mean, I suspect we might.
Well, even the way Fujinot that ends this book, he says, we should look upon those who fall prey to it, being these dark, worlds, not with scorn but pity. That kind of ties into what you were saying, where you don't hate Lois in this, you just kind of feel sad and sorry that this is how it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it was as good as the first one.
That's fair.
I'm trying to remember the art in the first one, because I might like the art in this one more, but I can't say that definitively.
Yeah, I'd have to go and
I'd have to look at it again.
Who was even on it?
But I think the art in this was really good. I liked how brutal it was and how tragic it was. I think the story felt more intricate in the last one, but
yeah, I'm just looking quickly at the last one. It was Javier Fernandez.
The art was pretty good then. Yeah.
I think the art was pretty good and suited that Gotham really well.
But likewise, this art suits 90s Superman.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think they've been very appropriate artists for their pieces. Maybe you can have a preference one way or another. I'm sure most people do, but I think they are equally good at what they're trying to do.
Yes. My only disappointment is that they really should have just not had Connor Kent there, just had Steel and Cyborg Superman for the joke.
that would have been really quite funny.
Just so I could make fun of Matt. But no, I surprisingly kind of enjoyed this again. I wasn't expecting to be into these Dark Multiverse things as much as I am so far.
Yeah, you thought, you'll try one and go, you know what? These are long. We don't really need to do these. Leave them. But not
only are they maybe building to some sort of dark crisis, they've so far been kind of fun.
I did notice the first one had Snyder co-write, and not as many guesses, but him doing a Dark Crisis sometime late next year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that, and I think it's kind of likely at this point, following on from this.
It could even be early. I could see it as early as like.
It could be like spring,
March or April.
To be honest, yeah.
Because he's ending Justice League in January. So
right, yeah, I mean, it could be as early as February for all we know, but Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably say early summer at the earliest, but I could be wrong.
So, no, I was into it. What are you giving it?
I'm going to give this an 8. No, I'm going to 8.5 just for the art.
I I think I'm
Good week
8
though,
out of
so
10.
far.
You know, I like the art. I like the sort of tragedy of it. I like the brutalness of just like dragging Lex out of the atmosphere till he burns and melts and there's just a skeleton left. I love it. I love how horrific these are being. Matt gave it a 7. And he says, it's fine, I guess. I didn't enjoy it as much as the last one. I enjoyed Dark Lows, but it was tedious to get through. So he wasn't his game.
Huh. I'm kind of surprised.
That was a bit overlong, he did.
He just doesn't like dark Superman stories, and that's essentially what this is. It's Lois gone bad, and he just doesn't like reading that. It's very Matt.
A 7. That's like a dire score from Matt. Like things are really.
That is actually like that's like me giving this like a 4 or 5.
It's like, oh damn, that's damning.